Test. Okay, that looks good. All right, looks like we are live. Okay, that's fine. Now I just need to clean up a little bit while I'm over here. So just bear with me while I put some of these paints up. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming at you with another Wargaming Wednesday live stream. And normally what we do is we stream for about 2 hours or so while the family is out, and I usually go ahead and continue working on projects that I'm working on as a side note. I just do these in the background. I sometimes talk about what I am doing at the time. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes we talk about the wargaming in general, you know, not just miniature gaming, wargaming. So wargaming could be board gaming, it could be computer gaming, it could be going to conventions or doing miniature gaming, and it doesn't have to be historical gaming either, even though my tendency will be to focus on historicals. Every now and then I'll do some fantasy or sci-fi or whatever, throw that in there. All right, and if you chat with me in the YouTube chat, I will do my best to respond. I'm gonna say that I don't have a producer, or I don't have someone to tell me when chats pop up. I'm not wearing a headset, so I don't hear any chat notifications. But if I do see a chat on there, I will do my best to respond. Okay, so what we're working on today is some 100 Years' War archers and crossbowmen. These are by Front Rank. You know, they're pretty cool. I thought this guy here looked a lot like Robin Hood. I know my focus is going in and out, but that's okay because I am going to be doing close-ups. Maybe I won't. I don't know. And then I'll also be doing some long-range shots. So I'm going to leave the focus working its magic. The focus might be off. I apologize. All right, so this is what okay. I've got some English toffee coffee. It's a K-pot or a K-cup or whatever you call it from the Keurig. What's the brand? Indulgence is the brand. My son turned me on to a mint chocolate, and I decided I would branch out and try some different flavors. And I really like the English toffee one. It's really nice. Okay, so I've got, I just finished, about 30 minutes ago, I just finished spraying these with their dull coat. Now I keep these are like cracker boxes. Over the years, yeah, you can see that one's got some paint on the inside. Over the years, anytime I will empty one of these cracker boxes or cracker assortments, I would, like this one is an assortment, I would keep this box. And one of the reasons is for storing and keeping it, not in my shelf, but in my tubs. Like I could put a unit or two in one of these boxes. And it also helps with, you're about to see, with flocking. It's just, that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be doing a little bit of basing, base texturing, and etc., etc. Now I'm going to put, now I organized these guys by how I'm going to sell them on eBay, right? Because all of these are going on eBay. So I'm going to be selling them in groups of 6. That basically just makes it easy for me to get all of them here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them by their, for lack of a better term, in their squads. And then, and then, you notice I got a million of these things. Okay. And you're saying, Mr. Everything, how many of these things do you have? I got about 20 of them. I mean, not currently right on my table. I got 7. I got one right here with some junk in it. Okay, so, and this is where I would normally put like any units, bolt action, black powder, doesn't matter, right? There we go. Dang, okay. And then I've got my mix that I normally use, and this is a 2-step process. The first step is normally this is a fine ballast. This brown is a fine ballast from Woodland Scenics, and the grass that I will be using is Battlefield Grass Green from Army Painter. This is kind of a it's kind of like a sawdust style flock. Okay, so far so good. Okay, I get my Tester's synthetic brush, white PVA glue, drop the PVA into my paint palette, And I usually fill up a tub, and you might have well, I don't know, it's off camera, you can't see it. I normally fill up a tub, and that very same tub was used last night to do my wash. Okay, let's shift this just a little bit over. Okay. All right, so I had a little bit of, I'm on a basing, just letting you guys know out there, I'm on a basing kick, right? I realized this over the last couple of days. My mind has been focusing on basing, and guess what? I don't have my reading glasses on. I need my super Coke bottle magnification glasses. Whenever I'm doing miniatures, I always have my magnification glasses on. You could see, man, that's pretty severe. But it makes it so that I can see fine detail. There are people that will use, I don't know if I can move this without breaking everything around. There are people that would use magnets magnifying glasses like that. My wife bought that for me because she knew that I used these heavy glasses to see. But I tend to not use that for a couple of different reasons. And we'll talk about that real quick. It throws off my depth perception. So like when I'm in there painting, or like I'm doing right now, just applying white glue to a base, forcing myself to look through that that magnifying glass causes the miniature to grow. I don't know what the magnification is. Let's just say double. And then my hand isn't as steady because my mind communicating to my hand from what it sees is off. So it throws me off. So I don't use it. Now, I'm sure that through practice, or if I used it a lot, or, kept at it, it would be really good. It would be really good to do. Okay, here's the mailman outside. I am expecting something, but not today. So I'm not really worried about the mailman out there. I ordered more front rank miniatures, and it's going to be part of the video, like when I'm not putting flock on here. But I ordered some cavalry, some American War of Independence guys, believe it or not, and I don't remember, maybe some more medievals to replenish the ones that I'm painting, to keep my inventory up. Yeah, for those of you guys that are watching the stream, if you're new to the stream or haven't ever been here before, welcome for first thing. And I like people coming in and just lingering and just watching, maybe learning. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me some questions. if you want. And when it comes, okay, like I said, I'm on this basing kick right now, and I'm going to have some questions for you guys later on in the show, because I want to know, basically I want to know, because you guys might, okay, I'm trying to get to the point, but I have a eBay store where I will paint miniatures and sell them. I have some non-painted ones on there. I have some unopened box sets, and I even have some like D&D models that, you know how the newer ones come pre-painted. I have some of those on there as well. But overall, generally speaking, that whole eBay store was set up so that I could paint some miniatures and sell them to people that want fully painted miniatures. Okay, so what I've been doing is kind of basing them the way I would base them. So just so you can think about this before I go ahead and ask the question later, I'm going to ask, what games you guys are playing when it comes to certain genres, and how are you basing your models, and what scale are you using? Because I'm going to use you guys as not a test subject, but an information group, a survey, if you will, because I've been putting together and painting models basically the way I use them, and I want to see if there is a more popular way or a more desired way to base them so that I can accommodate my customers. And another thing, just kind of, I consider this live stream two things, or maybe more than that, but two off the top of my head. One, it's for me to communicate and relate to my customers, guys that go to the eBay store and buy from me and are curious about other projects that I might be working on and things like that. But I also, for just gamers in general, or people that, you know, are big into historical wargaming and they just want to hear what other people have to say. Or maybe they can learn a technique or two or something like that for their own gaming. So it's kind of split 50-50. And the half that I kind of want to deal with, or I should say talk to today, are my customers, or potential customers, or future customers, or people that do not ever plan to buy anything from me, but just want to share their insight on what's being played, what kind of scale of miniatures they're using, what their club is doing, what rule system they're using, and what the basing convention is. Because the reason why I bring it up, one of the reasons why I bring it up, is because when I went to start painting these, I could have, did the normal popsicle stick thing that I normally do. Or I could have mounted them on square bases, like 20 millimeter or 30 millimeter or whatever, 1-inch squares. Or I could mount them on circles. And I notice a lot of like skirmish games out there are specifically using circles. And that was another thing. I wanted to know if skirmishing was still popular, or if I should maybe also do them in formations, like unit formations, 24 figures, 12 figures, 16 figures, whatever. Because it seems like both sell pretty well on my store, and that it doesn't really give me any insight as to like which one is more popular than the last. So now you might notice that when I put the glue on, right, I'm putting it on at full strength. I'm not diluting it. I'm not giving it 50% water or anything. Now this is only for the dirt, the grit, or whatever you wish to call it. For the grit, I put the PVA on full strength, full tilt, and I tend to put the majority of the glue to the sides of the model's built-in base, so that there would be a buildup of glue on both sides. And then I leave the pile of grit on there. I don't shake much of it off, and I let that sit. And what'll happen is, over time, it will soak down into the thick PVA. It might take an extra minute or two, but that's okay, because the effect is way better than the time lost. And because I'm doing enough of them, by the time I get done with this, all the first ones I did will already be done, already be dry. Luckily today it is like 100 degrees outside. That's Fahrenheit, by the way. It's like 100 degrees outside. I'm in Tennessee. Humidity is low, so like my clear coat that I sprayed on these guys took about 5 minutes to dry. And if I was, I'm not going to, but if I was to apply this Elmer's and use these boxes, of course, carry them outside, put them in the sun, the Elmer's would grab onto the flock and it would dry in a short time, just a few minutes. But I don't want to do that. And the reason why is I want the gravel, the grit, wherever you want to call it, to soak down into the glue. And if the glue dries too quickly, it won't have time to grip the grit. So I let it soak. All right, back to basing. Back to basing, because that's my topic today, is basing. Not specifically texturing or finishing the base, but just overall. I did a couple of videos this last week, since our last Wednesday. I did a couple of videos talking about my black powder tutorial, which I call boot camp. So it's all my tutorials are boot camps. So like I did a bolt action boot camp, black powder, you know, Warlords of Erewhon, etc., etc. You notice most of those are Warlord games. What's up with me? But okay, boot camps, and I went to decide when I was painting up some small Napoleonic units for my Napoleonic project. I said, you know what? I'm not exactly sure how I want to do this. Let me go back and watch my boot camp where I talk about basing and see what I thought about 3 years ago, you know, when I did that boot camp. And let's see what my ideas and concepts were back then. And I went through my boot camp, and I had no video talking about base sizes or basing conventions, like how many figures per base or how many bases per unit or anything like that. It was basically just assumed that people knew, or at least I neglected to say anything, which I'm disappointed with myself for letting that sit for 3 years. I'm yelling in the microphone, sorry. Letting that sit for 3 years and never addressing it. So I decided to make a couple of videos where I did that. Now, I'm slurping this coffee because it's a little warm. And I apologize, but I just woke up not too long ago. And I apologize because this is off topic. Okay, this is me, you know, just ranting to my audience, letting you hear my inner thoughts. I'm a D&D player. You know that. You guys that follow my channel, you know I play D&D. I actually stream it like every other Thursday, which we got a game of D&D coming up tomorrow night. And I stream it from about 5 to 10 Central Time. If you're interested in watching a good group of guys play some craziness, you know, it's a Greek Odyssey style game, but so it's basically mythological, historical role playing with monsters, you know, because of the mythology and all that. But it's also using the D&D rules, you know. But okay, back to that. So I love getting out there and streaming, and I also love watching other people's streams for a couple of reasons. As a dungeon master, I like seeing how other people are doing it. I like to see if I could get some ideas, or, you know, you know, if somebody's doing something right, I like to kind of say, okay, that guy's doing it good. You know, I might incorporate that in my game, or man, I never thought of the concept like that. You know, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Creative insight, basically, trying to bounce ideas off of other dungeon masters. Well, I can't really do that, so what I do is I watch their live streams. Okay, well, there's this stream out there, and they're a bunch of woke leftists, but you know what? They don't let that affect their gaming, so I don't worry about it. I just, you know, they're just cool people, actually. So I watch the stream, but there is this one girl on this stream. This one girl. There's actually a couple of girls on the stream, but there's this one that is married to the Dungeon Master. So both of them are actually gaming at the same time in the same room. Okay. That's 100% okay. That's really cool, actually. You know, I think that Dungeon Master found something that's hard to find out there, and that's you know, your significant other who also likes your hobby, right? Okay. So, especially when it's geeky. I think it's more prevalent today. I think it's more socially acceptable for girls to play D&D than it was back in the 70s when I was playing D&D. But that's okay. But that's not the problem. That's not the issue. These guys are playing. They're having a good time. And then right in the middle of the Dungeon Master's... Okay, let me back up a little bit. Both of their microphones are on the same table. So, to be able to hear the Dungeon Master, you would assume that you would also be able to hear the wife. Because I don't know if they're sharing the same microphone or if they have two microphones on the same table that separates them or what. But the Dungeon Master will be like explaining a situation, a room, a scene that they're getting ready to go into, having a conversation with one of the other players through an NPC or something, right? And while that is happening, during that instance, the wife will have a giant water bottle and a giant cup, and the microphone's like right here, and she'll take a glass and this water and pour it in like from a pitcher. She'll have like a pitcher of water, and she'll pour it in the glass, which of course she's got to drink, but she does it like right in front of the microphone, and it sounds like someone peeing into a urinal or peeing into the toilet. And it comes across to me as being extremely unprofessional. Mainly because I don't know what it is. It triggers me. I don't know why. I mean, it's just a simple pouring water in a glass. I struggle internally in my own inner monologue. She's only pouring water. But damn, why are you doing it right in front of the microphone, right when I'm trying to hear what your husband is saying? I know. And so when I'm sipping on this coffee, this is what I'm getting back to. So when I'm sipping on this coffee, I am apologizing because it might sound disgusting on the microphone, and I apologize. I had that long soliloquy just for that. I hope you guys appreciate that I stayed up late last night to finish these figures so that the same thing wouldn't happen this week that happened last week, where I wasn't to a spot where I could flock them. Okay, so let's get back to the subject at hand. And I must be ADD because I jump all over the place. I don't talk about the same thing 200 times or stay focused. So I need to just keep. I needed something that electrocutes me whenever I get off topic. You know, a little shot collar or something like Biden or something. But okay, so basing. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Let's move this out of the way to make a spot for that. Voila. Okay, so yeah, I've almost gone through all of it. So, and I've done 3 boxes, so I'm going to have 3 more boxes. Let's put some more white PVA into my little bin of love. Okay, so now I mentioned that under this there was a wash from the previous night, right? It had already 90% dried, but there's a few little drops in there that haven't dried, and the Elmer's might even be reactivating it. I doubt it, but it might. And if it does, I don't care, because the little bit of wash that I had left in my bin is not, even if I like added wash to the Elmer's, that would be cool. It would make my grit even darker or a different tone, a different color, because the wash I used was the strong tone, and yeah, strong tone, and that's pretty much like a really dark brown, and that's fine. Okay, so basing. Now I don't want to talk about like how I base. I'm not talking about the flock or the base texturing. I'm talking about sizes and shapes and things like that for basing. But I do want to say this. Next week, and I'm putting this announcement out. Next week, and I did it again. I deviated. But I am going to talk about next week. I am going to show the table off. Oh, this is why I was going to say that. Okay. Next week, I am going to show off my Quatre Bras battle mat. I'm going to open up the table because it's a ping pong table, which is a 5x9. Ping pong tables are 5x9, if those of you out there didn't know. And you can fold them up. So they're really good for wargaming, in my opinion. I played a game called, and this is just a little, while I'm thinking about it, I'm not actually distracted. I used to play a game almost exclusively, was Command Decision and Napoleon's Battles. I know, right? Back in the heyday of my, comeuppance or whatever. Command Decision had a scenario book out called Bastogne? Yeah, it was the Battle of Bastogne. So it had the 28th Infantry Division, Panzerlehr, 2nd Panzer Division, 26th Volksgrenadier, etc., etc. And the scenarios were all set, and you weren't supposed to play it by the scenarios. You were supposed to play it like a campaign where players move units around a larger map, and then with a referee, and then wherever these units encounter each other, the referee would put together battles, and then you would keep track of losses, and at the end of the battle you would recoup some of your losses, and blah blah blah. Okay, but the scenarios in that book were on tables. That was 5x9. All the battles, not all, there was a couple of battles, but all the battles in the Napoleon's battles scenarios were all on a 5x9. And I was like, why the hell is it not 4x6 or 4x8? Because that's a sheet of plywood. Am I going to have to build a table? And then I saw that a ping pong table is 5x9. And I was like, oh, okay. Whoever wrote these scenarios obviously plays on a ping pong table. So I got me a ping pong table. And we do our role playing on it. We do all our miniature gaming on it. And when I am done with it, playing, that's it right there, I fold it up. And obviously store a lot of boxes on it. Da-ding. Okay. So what I'm going to do next week is I'm going to pull out the ping pong table, put the Quatre Bras battle mat that I made. You could watch that video on my channel where I show you how I make it. I actually made two. Made one like 3 years ago where I was using that at a local convention. I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with it at all. Everybody loved it at the convention, and that's why I made it, was for the convention. But there were some lessons learned at the convention, so I remade it. And so we'll be pulling my remake out, which you could have seen. Here, let me see. Right there. It's actually the under mat. This is it right here. That is actually my Quatre Bras battle mat. This blanket up here on top is actually another battle mat that I will eventually turn into a couple of different Waterloo battles. It's actually made out of a different material. This is a painter drop cloth. Well, I think both of these are. This is a painter drop cloth. 18 ounce or 24 ounce or so. I don't remember what the ounces is. And it was white, so I had to paint it. This one actually came tan like that, khaki. And it's double-sided khaki, which is cool. But one side, the side you can't see, it's folded under, is rubberized. Yeah, I know, right? And so I haven't experimented with it yet, but the reason why I bought it was because on my Quatre Bras map, another lesson was learned. Paint will soak through. So by painting the battle mat, which I had to do, it was white. I guess later, I could have gotten a tan one. But, and I probably, paying a few extra dollars for tan would have saved me money in the long run because I had to paint it tan. Okay, so, but I'm going to be pulling out the Quatre Bras map. We'll be the reason why that other one why I got the rubberized one was to prevent any bleed through of paint once I paint. Because what I plan to do is paint the Hougoumont battlefield on one side, and then the La Haye Sainte battlefield on the other side, and then in the future maybe get a second one and do Papa La Haye or Valmy or even Corunna Bay, because I plan to do Corunna Bay building my forces up for a Corunna Bay scenario as well. Okay, so I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to pull the table out. We're going to lay it out, and we're going to take all my figures that I have done, lay them out on the table, and just see if, just to get a visual representation of how much space all these figures take on a 5x9 table at the Battle of Quatre Bras. But not just for that reason, but also because I want to do an accounting of what troops I have. Basically an inventory, basically just a double check. I mean, I keep track of it as I go, but I've found just recently, and this is going to be a subject of a video I'm going to be doing probably later this evening. I found my Quatre Bras TO&E is a little bit different than what I've been working towards, and so I need to make some adjustments, and I'm pretty much going to show on stream me making those adjustments. Okay. So next week expect a full table display to be presented. But another reason why I want to do that is back to basing. I know you said, what does that have to do with basing? Well, I have these spots, these city centers, town sectors, or built-up areas like Quatre Bras, Gemian Court, Thule, on the map, on the battle map. And the battle map in those areas are painted black. That is supposed to be the size of the built-up areas. So, like, imagine a big area about, so big, painted black right next to a road, and then on the other side, a painted area of black, and then maybe behind the first is another area painted black. Those are built-up areas that can be occupied by troops. And then what I would do on the table is take one of my model buildings that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and I would sit them in the middle of one of these black squares, right? Or rectangles. A couple of them are polygons, because the road that goes through Quatre Bras is not a perfect square. It's kind of like a long X. So the built-up area, I wanted them to fit so I would paint the black right up to the road, but I tried to make it as square as possible, so there might be some dead zone right there at the town center or something. But so what I've been thinking heavily over this last week, because this week basing has really been top of my mind, and I don't know why it is, but I'm glad it is. I was wondering if I should make, and I'm leaning towards yes, just because it'll be fun. I'm leaning towards taking some press board, MDF board, and cutting them to the same shape as those black zones on the table, and then that way I can lay one of these boards on top of each of the city centers, and then basically texture and flock and dioramatize, if you want to call it that. Basically just make it look more finished of the town sector, right? Leave a spot for the actual building to sit, not glue it down, but just, you know, leave a spot exactly the size of one of the buildings in each of the town centers, and then build up like a courtyard or a what do you call it? Like a cemetery or an orchard, or, you know, just maybe a fence or a wall around that built up area. Because what that'll do, or a hedge actually, because what that'll do is it'll give that house, because there's only one building, it'll give it well, first of all, it'll look really cool on the table, because then you'll have an actual area that looks like, you know, it'll have flock, it'll have hedges, maybe a wagon wheel leaning up against a fence, or, you know, anything like that. Maybe some chickens in the yard. It would have a actually, I've got a bunch of farm animals. That actually might be really good. I might do that. But it'll give the player an understanding or a visual cue that when he is in that little, inside that little zone of control, that little fence, wall, hedge, that he's actually inside cover. Because the way the rules kind of read is that you have a building, and when you just walk beside it like you normally do, but when you deploy into it, you take your unit and you put them back to back against the building. So it's like forming square with the building in the middle. And the guys would stick out from the building. You don't actually like remove house tops and lids or whatever and put figures inside of a building, because that's what you would do in like bolt action. But in black powder, you just have these solid resin buildings or whatever, and you would just take your models and put them back to back against this building, and you spread them out the best of your ability. you know, one per side or whatever. And that looks okay, you know, as an emergency. But since I've got a little extra time, or I can put a little extra effort into it, I can make that area that normally would be occupied by a base sticking out from the building, because that's about how big I made those black areas. I made those black areas on the map the size of a building plus figures lining the outside of the building. So I'm thinking I could make like a little courtyard or something, and once you're in that courtyard inside that building, you would be deployed, and it would just, I think it would just look a lot better. A couple of years ago, I made a bunch of picket fences, and I used those. I put the building down on the mat, and then I lined up these picket fences around the outside of these buildings, and that gave it its a border. English toffee. Okay, it's about to the point where I can start adding ice. And then what will happen is I'll guzzle it. And then probably have to go use the bathroom. Almost done. We've got this last little group. This takes the longest period of time, is because I am covering the entire base, and I'm using as much, not as much, I'm using a little bit more effort to avoid painting shoes and boots and, you know, like arrows that are stuck in the ground. I'm trying not to put too much glue on those, because the gravel would glue to that, and then it would take away from the paint job. But I am covering 100%, and I'm using a little effort to avoid. So this, and then this process takes the longest. Plus, there is a dry time for the gravel. When I go into the grass, there's no dry time. 0 dry time. And I'll show you that here in a minute. Another reason why you've got to wait for this to dry, Elmer's or PVA is never fully dry. Never. Even 100 years later, it's not fully dry. It's like glass. If you ever add water to it and you let it soak in water or any other liquid like that has water in it, it will hydrate again. It will soak up the water like a sponge and turn back into PVA. But it does take a few minutes, 10 to 15 minutes or so. Once it's, quote, dry, you can go back over it and get it wet. And as long as it doesn't sit there for 15 minutes, you'll be fine. But if you let the second coat of PVA sit there for more than 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to ruin your job that you did with the gravel or the grit. So you got to let the grit dry before you jump onto the grass green. Okay, I'm getting down to the last little bit of PVA in my paint palette. That's good, because I'm on the last figure. It wouldn't have mattered if I had used it all or not, because I'm going to use even more putting the grass on. But it's just convenient. Okay. Getting up underneath that shoe was a little difficult. That's all right. I do have smaller brushes to be able to get up underneath there, but I didn't need to do it. Need to worry about it. I took care of it. Okay, so they are all graveled. When did I start? Oh shoot, I started this over an hour ago. So, or just under an hour ago. So that first group has got to be dry. I mean, it's mandatory. It has to be dry. Okay. This is the last group I did. Okay, another thing, what I do is I will take this brush and I will let it sit in my brush cleaner, which is soap and water, and I'll let it hang in there so that the bristles don't harden up because it's inside water. And like I said, Elmer's or PVA will soak up that water. Okay, so my point is, it's just a question. Do you think, I don't know if I want to do that now or later, because that's a project where I would be taking away from doing my units. And so I want to go ahead and do my units first for Quatre Bras, and then build those building courtyards. And because my Quatre Bras units would be finished, I would naturally be progressing on to my next project, which would be the Hougoumont project, right? And there is one big building on the Hougoumont map, and that's probably in multiple courtyards. It's almost like it's its own little city town. So I'm probably going to make like 3 or 4 courtyards for the Hougoumont. But I'm also probably going to make another one for the orchard, because it has a wall around it. And so there's one for the courtyard of the farmhouse. There's one for the church, and then one for the stable in the back, I think is how I'm going to do Hougoumont. And then make one for the courtyard outside, and then that way I won't have to paint the area black on the map, but I probably still will anyway. No, if I don't, okay, I'm thinking this through. If I don't paint the black, well, there's roads and stuff, so yeah, it's definitely going to be a Hougoumont map. Because I was thinking, if I don't put those city centers there, then I could use this map for any other Napoleonic battle, right? If I make all my city centers with courtyards, then I'll never need to sully a battle map with a bespoke town, and I could just have the proper roads and streams and woods, and then move the town or whatever to make different battles more more unique, or play some pickup games or something like that. It doesn't always have to be on the Quatre Bras map, you know what I'm saying? Or the Hougoumont map, because a road here or there is not going to throw off your game. The woods, maybe. Streams, bridges, yeah. But I'm not going to put just a blank map out and then have road and river tokens laid out, because I think that looks tacky, having roads and rivers sitting on top of your battle map. Okay, so let's go back to these first two guys. And let me grab some ice for my coffee, and I will be right back. 1 minute. I know, ridiculous, right? Okay. So I just want to say this. My wife went out and got the COVID vaccine, right? She got it about 3 weeks ago. And then about 2 weeks ago, her knees started hurting. Just out of the blue. Her knees started hurting. Painful. She's having a hard time walking. She's been wearing a knee brace. I'm not saying it's related, but it just seems... Okay, now I'm using a Art Color 3/4 inch brush. This is kind of like a makeup brush. I recommend makeup brushes for this type of stuff, because the bristles are so soft, you can knock off the dirt without damaging your paint job. But this is actually an Art Color brush. I've had this for years. I actually used it quite a few times inside my computer case to dust components. But this is actually what I have it for. Okay, so she finally decided, not finally, I mean, my wife is a hypochondriac. She got a doctor's appointment to have them go look at her knee. So after school today, which is probably right about now, she's probably going to go to the doctor. She said it was in the afternoon, but wait, what's going on here? Yeah, she said it was in the afternoon, but I don't know when in the afternoon. and she's been nervous. She didn't sleep very well last night either. And I know that because I was awake painting. And then she would get up at like 2 a.m. And she never gets up that late. And I think she got up to take a painkiller. But they're telling her that it might be a torn meniscus. And this is something that somebody told her over the phone. How are you going to know that? So she went in today to get, I think, an MRI on her knee. Yeah. I'm trying to do these in order. So that the dry time, so the dry will be in order as well. It doesn't really matter because I think they're all pretty much dry anyway, because it only takes about 15 minutes to half an hour. And that first group was over an hour ago, or about an hour ago. And one of the reasons why, you know, why you knock it off back in the bin, so you can save it and reuse it. You know, 100% of the gravel doesn't go on the model. Never does. Okay, let's do this. That might work. Now, if you guys are watching this after the fact, like on Thursday through Tuesday or whatever, you're not here live, please put a comment in the comments what games you're currently playing, or wanting to play, or building armies for. What scale, 25s, 28s, 25, 28, same thing, or 15s, or 6, or, well, not even that, 15s, 28s, that's really all I care about. What bases, how do you mount them, if it's a skirmish game or a unit based game, like how many figures per base. Basically, I'm giving you a homework. And I would just appreciate if you would put that in the comments, so that over the next week or two I can kind of, or whenever, I can go back and look at this video and I can say, oh, everybody's playing SPQR, and they're playing Gaul, or they're playing Macedonians, and they mount all their figures on 15-inch circles and just make one big base and move it around. No, I'm just kidding. That would be ridiculous. Or I base my generals differently than I base my foot troops, and this is how I base them, or etc., etc. Basically, any information you can give me is appreciated, because I want to, this is for my eBay store, I want to do what people want. So I want, like, specifically these 100 Years War crossbowmen. Let's just use them as an example. If you say, yeah, I play Lion Rampant, and Lion Rampant's a skirmish game, and we use 1-inch bases and circles, units are anywhere between 5 and 10 models, or 5 and, yeah, I think it's 5 and 10, and yeah, 5 to 10 models, then I would know how big of a unit to sell on eBay. I would know how to base them on, how to base them, and I would know that there is an interest in that genre. That would help me out immensely, because then I would say, okay, I need to order a bunch of 1-inch circles. I need to order some 100 Years War for Lion Rampant. I need, and then maybe I'll get some flags that are for Lion, for the 100 Years War or whatever. So it would basically be, you guys are a resource for me of information. And if you're currently not working on any models or miniatures or anything, that's okay too. Don't worry about it. I'm not like, no pressure. Okay. It looks like a new bin, but it's not. It's actually 2 half bins. I combined them into 1 bin. The ice made me slurp. Did I mention it's 100 degrees outside? Okay. All right, so here we go. We're getting ready to do the thing. So now I use PVA again, but this time I only fill up about half of my reservoir there. And then I take about 50% and add water. So it's not 50-50, it's probably 2-to-1. 2 PVA to 1 water. Then I stir gently, because I don't want to make a mess. And when I go to put this mixture on the base, I only cover about, well, I say 1/3 of the base, but that's not really true. I wind up covering about half of the base, but what I do is I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't see any of that. Let's see what we can do here. If I was doing it this way, it might be better, but I take the glue and the water mixture and I put it on the base, and I make like a little camouflage pattern, leaving gaps between the glue and the other patches of glue. And I try to put mostly in the low ground around the base. And then I just sprinkle the sawdust mixture on the PVA/water. And it looks like the entire base is covered, but then I shake off almost all of it. And then, I don't know if lighting is causing this thing to go crazy, but then you get a dirt and grass okay, I think the focus might be over here because I am not centered in my camera. And no two bases are ever exactly the same because I just basically take 3 little drops of PVA, I put it on there randomly, and then shake it off. Now I do like putting it under feet or sometimes up to the edge, sometimes over the lip of the figure base to kind of disguise that there is a figure base. Also, if there's a spot that the gravel didn't stick, I'll be sure to hit that with grass to make sure it's covered. And also, if there's any stones, because I put a few of these little medium ballasts inside my fine ballast, and those are like, or maybe it's rough, coarse, or whatever they call it, but it basically gives some of these bases little stones. And when that happens, I try to put grass right up to the edge of one of those stones, because what that also does is adds a little bit more PVA to that stone, holding it in place. Unit 1 done. Again, if you have any suggestions on what we can talk about in future videos, drop them in the comments. I take all suggestions under advisement. I'm going to have to admit that if I don't want to talk about that subject, or if I feel like that subject deserves an actual bespoke video, edited video, then I might do a video about that separately. If you remember that someone in the chat requested that we talk about how do you carry an army, I actually think that deserves a little bit more in-depth discussion, and I'm thinking strongly about actually making a bespoke video about that. Thank you for that suggestion. That was actually a good suggestion. I was going to talk about it on our live stream the week after, but a lot of things happened between then. But yeah, if you've got any suggestions, drop them in the comments now or later. It's okay. I do get a chance to see all the comments. And I don't always look at the comments, but at least once a month I will go through all my comments. I try not to let them go over a month without me having read them. So it will get read, maybe just not the same day you post it. If you are actually a customer of mine on my eBay store, like you've actually ordered from me, let me know. I'm curious if you're a viewer and a customer. That would be exciting to know that my customers are actually watching my videos as well. Second unit done. I don't know what it is about iced coffee, but I think I'm in love. Especially when it's that English toffee. I don't know, it's just good. It's better than soda. I know, can you believe it? An American who says coffee is better than soda. Well, I guess Americans like coffee and Brits like tea. Now I'm going to tell you, I like me some tea. I do like tea. And I don't put milk in it. But I do put sugar in it. I like iced tea and hot tea. I like both. I think I prefer hot tea. But I like both. If you are interested in my Napoleonic Project updates, my next video will be coming out tonight. I'm going to do a video tonight about the changes that I'm making, or that I have discovered I need to make with my TONEs. Specifically, there are more light infantry than I thought. And that's kind of, I'm kind of upset at myself for trusting Warlord Games and their scenario. I knew better than to trust, not Warlord Games, they're great. but the Quatre Bras scenario that they have published is, by their own admission, not accurate. And I, they said, hey, this is what we did, and this is why we did it this way, and okay, cool. But I was trying to emulate that, and I shouldn't. Since I am not just pulling figures off of the shelf to play a game, I'm actually putting figures onto the shelf. I should have been more attentive to the TO&Es. So when I realized that I had missed a single light infantry unit, 3rd Battalion of the 2nd Regiment, I said to myself, oh, maybe I missed something else. So I kind of have been looking over various sources of TO&E, and I found there's probably about 3 different light battalions that I overlooked. On the French side, that is. And there was some cavalry that I overlooked. So I'm going back and I'm taking a look at those. FYI, for the channel and for my update and for my store, this is kind of a little update for everything. I did put another order in at Front Rank. I also put an order in at Miniature Market. I don't know if you guys shop at Miniature Market, but they're kind of a mainstream online hobby store. They carry all the games you would expect, like Dungeons and Dragons and what's the other one? Pathfinder and card games like Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. But they do carry paint. And I found that they carry the old P3 in the pot paints. They're not old, they're just a different, they're the original P3s. And those are the ones that I like. And I saw a few colors on there, and I said, you know what, I'm going to order these. $4 a piece, I was okay with that. But then I said, maybe they've got some Citadel. And they do, they carry Citadel paint. I'm ashamed of Citadel. I'm ashamed of them. Their pots are 8 milliliters as opposed to 12, which your standard paint pot is 12, and Citadels have 8. And a standard paint pot from almost any other brand is anywhere between $3 to $4, and theirs are $7. I'm like, Citadel, what are you doing? You're relying on those grognards that, what do we like to call them? The tryhards. That all they care about is status symbol and not quality or color. And they don't mind getting ripped off. Citadel is ripping them off. I looked at those Citadel colors and I'm like, no, half of these are freaking contrast paints, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's basically a wash. Oh, but contrast paints are great because then you You don't need to highlight. Well, guess what? Us painters that have been painting for years have been doing this for years. You prime a model white and you water your paint down. And guess what? Contrast paint. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And then they sell it for more. It's like $12 a pot or something like that. It was Games Workshop. That's why I stopped carrying you in my store when I used to own an actual brick and mortar store. I stopped carrying you. And there was a time, they probably don't do it anymore, but there was a time that Games Workshop would tell me as a independent retailer, not even one of their chain stores, just, I mean, I buy from them, of course. I would get a discount and then I would sell it, obviously. They would try to tell me, and they did, they tried to tell me where in my store I was allowed to place their product. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. They said, if you want to continue being one of our retailers, you have to order 2 of everything. You can't just order 1. So I couldn't order just a starter set or just 1 miniature. If I ordered it, I would have to order 2 paints. I had to order 6, which, okay, I get that. They don't want to crack open a paint pack just for me, just little old me. And I had to put a rack that they sold me, right? This is funny. I bought a rack so that I could, basically it was a metal rack that you screwed into the wall, but it had peg hooks sticking out so that you could place all their product side by side or what have you, right? Basically peg hook all their blister packs. But I had to buy the rack. This rack is probably only like 18 inches wide and 4 feet tall. Just one simple rack. Well, I bought like 3 of them because that's how much of their product that I carried and I kept on their wall. I carried like, I don't know, 100 different blister packs. And they said that I had to take that rack off of the wall where I had placed it, and I had to build something in the center of my store and display the rack there if I wanted to continue doing business with them. Because they demand through all their retailers that the first thing that people see when they walk in is their product. And I was like, that's pretty arrogant of you guys. The place that they wanted me to put their figures, I already had a rack there. I already built something there, and it was full of Reaper miniatures at the time when Reaper was only $1 or $2. Remember, this was a few years ago. Reaper's pretty much gone up to $6 a model now. But they were like $1 or $2, and they would fly off the shelf. I would buy a Reaper miniature. I would buy, a few hundred. There would be people standing at my store standing there waiting for the UPS man to get there. When he got there and I started unpacking the Reaper miniatures, they would say, I'll take that one. I'll take this. You don't need to put a price tag on it. I'll just buy that one. And I was like, damn, I should have ordered 2 of those. But Reaper was just flying off the shelf. And so I put it at the front of my store. Games Workshop said, no, you got to put us up there. And I pushed back. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I said, what are you going to do? Are you going to send somebody to my store and look? And they said, yes. We have a store that we're building in, what'd they call that place? It was Opry something, Opry Mills. And we'll send a guy up there to look at your store. And I was like, okay, we're done. I'm not buying anything else from you guys. I knew I was going to guzzle that. Hey, Reg. Oh, contrast paint. Yeah. We see eye to eye. We know what's up. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for scams. Hey, I play Star Citizen. No, I'm all for innovation and helping out the community, right? There's probably some new painter out there somewhere, some 10-year-old that doesn't know, right? And GW is basically just helping that guy out. And I've got this bridge that I'd love to sell you over there in the swamp. You know what's really funny? There are a number of stores out there that shill for Games Workshop. There's painters out there that shill for Games Workshop. I see you know, well, Games Workshop has a following. It's got a community that you could sell a paint bottle for $100 and they would buy it. You know, you got this one figure of the Ultramarine Commander. Who is it? Titus, or I don't even remember. And they'll sell them for like $20 and they pay for it. They buy it. And because of that, there are these retail stores out there that will carry their product because they know they've got these suckers out there buying their product, hook, line, and sinker. So these retailers, because of that, they want to appease their pewter masters. They want to appease the God Emperor. And so they get on these YouTube videos and they say how great these paints work. And man, they're great. I can't believe that I was able to paint a whole model in just a couple of hours, you know, using these contrast paints. It's just great. I'm sorry, got sidetracked. Got distracted. But yeah, I've got an order of some P3 paints, tubs coming in. Guess what? They're 12 milliliters. And they were only like $4. They're all done. Okay. So after I watered them down with the glue and I flocked them and shook off the majority of the flock, it does take a few minutes for the PVA to actually dry. This is the time that I would probably take it out into the 100-degree weather and then bring it back in, you know, after about 15 minutes for it to be dry. But I think that this first unit that I did is dry. That might not be the first unit I did. This might have been the first unit I did. Either way, these are pretty close. So then what I do is I take my makeup brush, and I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I will tap. Nothing fell off of this model, but I'm still doing it anyway. Just to recover any flakes. Man, none of these are falling off. That's good. Well, a little bit fell off of this one. Okay. Did. That one's did. These will all be on my eBay store this evening. These are 100% store models. These are not my personal collection. So if you're interested in some 100 Years' War longbowmen or crossbowmen, I'll put them up there. I dull coated them. I mean, the microphone might be in the way. I think that guy looks pretty good. What do you think? Whoops. And the base, what do you think? I think it looks pretty good. Come on, camera, focus. Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you how I painted these guys. Primed black, and I tried something that was an experiment. I wasn't sure if it was going to work. Let's pull this guy out because he's mostly skin anyway. Okay, I tried something a little different on these guys. I painted their flesh using elf flesh. That's right, elf from Army Painter. Let me pull it out so you can kind of see what it looks like. Okay. Oh, elven flesh, right? That's kind of bright. That's what I was thinking. It was kind of bright. And then I realized that my Napoleonics guys, I've been hitting them with sunny skin tone. It's just a little bit lighter than the sunny skin tone. And then when you hit them with a strong tone wash, I think it did pretty good. I think the flesh came out acceptable. I'm going to start using it because it's a brighter flesh that when you hit it with the wash, it brings it back to a good flesh tone. I mean, I like that flesh tone. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, and it kind of makes the highlights stand out because the wash darkens up like the in between the fingers, but the raised area stays that bright color. Yeah, so I hit him with the elven flesh over black, and then almost every color on these models, almost every color was either P3 or Model Master, except for the flesh. That's not true. The metal was not gunmetal. Where you at? Was it this one? Yeah. Plate mail metal. Which, it's plate mail. It seems like that's appropriate for armor. Alright guys, so I'm going to start a new project, right? Because these are done. I'm going to start a new project. I need some help. I could do the light infantry, but I'm thinking I want to do the Nassau. I don't really need to do the British cannons. Okay, I think I did these already. Did those, I think I did them all. If not, it's no big deal because nothing was falling off anyway. What would you like to see? Now I've got British Hussars I need to do. I'm thinking of that. I've got what else? I got British Hussars, Nassau, there's like a whole brigade of British that I haven't even touched yet. I could probably do that. I could probably do a couple of battalions of British to start that brigade. French Lancers I ordered because I realized I only have like 5 Lancers and I need 12. So I ordered a whole Lancer unit from Front Rank. That'll be here in probably 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. I ordered some Polish Lancers for the Guard, for Lefevre's brigade, division, whatever he is. I ordered some dragoons also for that brigade. I have some French. What do I got over there? Yeah, light dragoons, British household cavalry. Okay, I do have some British. Oh, I got the Belgian light cavalry, the dragoons. I think I need to do those. I think I want to do those. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I've already made up my mind. I'm going to do the Belgian. Okay, we're going to change the camera around here a little bit. Bear with me. Boop. Boop. Again, bear with me. I got stuff in front of my keyboard. Okay. Do I have it? I do. There we go. Perfect. All right, here we go. All right, what I'm doing is I'm bringing up a sheet, obviously. Doi. There we are. If it's in green, then it's telling me I've already done those. But there's a lot of stuff I've already done that I have not changed to green yet. But like here's that one brigade I was talking about. I haven't even touched them yet. But I'm not in a hurry to do those. And I didn't do this says 2nd Battalion. I actually did the 3rd Battalion, but that's fine. And that probably should have been a large unit anyway. I probably need to add a 1,000 men. I would consider that to be a large unit. I probably need to add a couple of bases to that, or just make a 2nd unit, make the 2nd Battalion, and then take a couple of figure bases off of this and put it over there. But that's what I'm talking about. I'm making a video about some of the changes that need to be done. Let me scroll down to, there's the militia. There's the NASA I was thinking about doing. There's these 2 brigades are finished. And this brigade, best, I was actually making Vinky's brigade. And I already finished these 2 Landwehr, which I can replace. And then if I just do 2 more Landwehr, then I'll have a whole brigade. But there's the Brunswick. And then here we go, the 5th Light Dragoons. Yep, the 5th Light Dragoons. I think I'm going to do these guys. I've got the figures ready to go. It's considered a small unit. Yeah, 395 is real close to 400. I would almost think that this was a full-size unit, but yeah, we're gonna do a small unit here. According to this says the 2nd Hussars was only 600 men, and cavalry at 600 men I think is still a standard size unit. I don't think it's large. I know that cavalry and infantry are done a lot differently, but like 600 men is 6 bases. If you think 100 men per base, and 6 bases is your standard, 6 bases is a standard size battalion. Like this 427, I made that a standard size unit. You know, anything over 400, I pretty much make a standard size unit. And once you get to about 800, that should be a large. So like 656, still standard. Volunteers, 150, that's tiny. Like this 835, that should probably be large. 8, wait, these are 8s as well. These are all 8s. These should probably all be large. But I'm not making them large. I'm making them normally standard. So maybe 800 is still standard. Yeah, I made that standard. But for some reason, that's a horrible number. But I made that a large unit according to the... yeah, that was a mistake. I made that a large unit according to the scenario booklet. Yeah, these, like, there's a small unit. Yeah, under 400 is small. These guys would all be standardized. But 1,000 probably should be large. 800, we'll go with standard on that, but that should be large. I do believe. And I think these are Scots Guards, right? The 3rd Regiment of Foot should be Scots, I think, because that's what these guys are. Yeah, that's just brigade totals, so don't look at that. But the individual 900, I'm probably just going to make them normal size. I don't know about this guy. Yeah, I'll look at the Huguenot scenario and see how they label those guys. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do the 5th Light Dragoons next. I'm going to go ahead and start washing those right now. It is 1 o'clock here, and come on back to the channel later, or, you know, just to watch the video where I discuss the changes in my unit sizes and which units are actually present. New information has come to light for me. Also, if you're interested in buying these 100 Years War archers or crossbows, I'm going to be uploading them to eBay sometime this afternoon. And hey Reg, what are you saying? To average it out, you made all your guards large units. Okay. Yeah, yeah, and that way, even if you needed to just make them normal, all you got to do is pull a couple of bases off, right? And then now you got a regular size unit. So that might be a good idea. But back to my closing. Next week, we're going to show the battle map with every unit that I've got finished on the table, mainly just to see the scope of the amount of figures and the size of the battlefield. And I'm not going to make the bases or the courtyards for the buildings until I get all the figures done. Once I get all the figures done, then I will do the bases for not only Quatre Bras, but also Huguenot and La Haye Saint. So I'll basically have that whole collection done. I don't think I'm going to buy... I might bite the bullet and buy the Huguenot model kit and the La Haye Saint model kit. but I also think they take up too much space on the table because they're made to an accurate scale, and I don't want that. I want it to be a town center. So I'm probably not going to. I don't know. That'll be months down the line, so I don't need to worry about that. We're not hitting the convention next month in Nashville because, well, primary reason, I don't have all the figures ready for it yet. Secondary reason, just want to be safe, if you get my drift. But next year we should have no problem going. So all my goals are to run more than one game at NashCon next year. It might be a Waterloo campaign. Like I might be able to do Quatre Bras on Friday night, and then maybe Hougoumont on like a Saturday morning, and then maybe a La Haye Saint in the afternoon or something like that. And then maybe even if I get this far, the Prussians in the evening. That would be like 4 games. I'm sure I'd be burnt out. My mind would explode. But or I could do like a Quatre Bras in the morning and then maybe a Corunna Bay in the evening, because I'm actually thinking about doing a unit spreadsheet like this for Corunna Bay, and then proxying anything that I have finished already for the Corunna Bay units. Okay, because that's Peninsula and not, 100 days. Yeah. Next week, map. Oh, yeah. In a couple of days, maybe 2-3 days, I'll have those Light Dragoons. The 5th Light Dragoons will be finished. You'll get a chance to see those on the screen. And if you come to watch any of my Waterloo project updates, you'll see those. I think that's it. All right, guys. Hey, man, I appreciate all you guys coming out and watching the stream. Again, I got your call to action out there for drop me a comment at some point letting me know what you're working on, what scale it is, what game system it's for, how many figures per base, and then if you also shop at my eBay store. That way I'll know if you're a customer and a viewer, a community member, or are you just a community member, or are you just a customer? Well, I guess you wouldn't be watching the video if you're just a customer. And then what you're working on, or what you're planning on working on, like you've got a future project, or if you're a customer, are you looking for a specific miniature specifically? Like, hey, I need Henry V, or hey, I need the 27th Jaegers, or hey, I need North Carolina Militia, or whatever you need, let me know. And what that does is it kind of gives me a direction on where I need to go, and then I will do it, and I will post it up on eBay, and then you can buy it from my eBay store, and you don't have to like put any money down or anything like that, because if you wind up not being able to buy it, somebody will buy it, and it'll just give me it'll like give me a guidance on what to get. All right, guys. I will see you in the next video. Should see you every Wednesday, as long as I told you about my wife. She hasn't gotten home yet, obviously. She's probably at the doctor. But in a week or so, she's going to be maybe 2 weeks, but in a week or two, she's going to be dog sitting for a friend of ours, which means she's going to be basically staying over at my friend's house while my friend and his family are going to Mexico on vacation. And so she's going to watch their dogs for about a week. And in that time, I'll be able to do a lot more videos because the house will be empty more often than not, right? It'll just be me. And when it's just me, I turn the camera on. Weird like that. All right, guys, thanks for coming out and checking out this video, and I will see you in the next one.